Oh yeah. You guys there? Oh yeah. Looks like I'm already live. We have a glorious audience. We have absolutely nobody watching for my Sunday evening unplanned chat that I decided to do 16 minutes ago. That's okay. I'm not in a rush. I'm gonna get my mushroom coffee over here. Gonna pour myself some water. Maybe we can gather an audience. You know, worst case, nobody hops on my live. And if nobody hops on my live, what did we really lose? You know, it's so funny how many people are terrified about going live. And they don't realize worst case is nobody gets on. And if nobody gets on, who the heck cares? You know what I mean? I think you do. Getting some of my goodies together just for a little fun. I do my coffee with Ken show every morning, so I've kind of gotten used to drinking a beverage while I do my show. I don't think it's a must. I know it's not a must. But I'm gonna tonight. I am gonna tonight. So how you guys doing? Sitting in the bathtub a little bit ago. Some of my best thoughts come when I'm in the bath. I'm sitting there going, huh, water's nice, bubbles are fun. You know, it's the one time I sit still for about a half an hour, and usually gives me some time to think. Not much going on. I'm drinking my Laird Superfood mushroom protein instant latte designed for strength and energy. It was sent to me. I'm trying it. I think this is my third or fourth day of drinking it. It tastes pretty good. If you're interested and you're watching this on TikTok for any reason, I think there's a, whoa! It's a problem with doing live shows. But maybe that's part of the genius of doing live shows, that stuff happens. And I just dumped a bunch of mushroom coffee on my table. And you know what? That's okay. That is okay. We're just gonna knock it on the floor. We're gonna commit to sweeping it up in a little bit. And things aren't going to be quite as neat as I'd hoped, but I'm okay with that. Seriously, that's pretty funny. But I was wondering while sitting in the tub, you know, I've been doing coffee with Ken for 6 years or so, and I kind of talk about life, and I just talk about all sorts of things. And about 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago now, I stopped drinking alcohol and smoking weed. And I talk about it a fair bit on my show, not all the time, but a fair bit. And I avoid niches, and I've always known that if I really wanted a huge successful show, I'd probably do a niche, make it about men's mental health or divorced dad or sobriety or financial highs and lows. And I think anybody interested in that specific topic, hold on, I gotta get my lid, would tune in and subscribe to your page as soon as they saw it was something they're interested in. Instead, I dare to be different, and I'm maybe dumb because of it, and I never niche my show. It's just me talking about life and about the things I experience in life. Gonna leave you with that for a moment. Grab my lid. But anyway, I go live every morning, usually talk for about an hour. A lot of times sobriety comes up. It seems like it's a pretty hot topic for people in the world, and it seems like it's a kind of a trend, at least away from alcohol, that more and more people are cutting back on their drinking of alcohol. And I post all my lives I do. Again, I go live every morning. I edit them. I'm about 6 or 7 weeks behind. And about 6 or 7 weeks ago, while I was doing a live, a regular watcher said, hey, what's the best thing about sobriety? And I didn't really have an answer for him the next day, or until the next day. And the next day I kind of thought of it, and I said, is not wanting to drink anymore is the best thing about sobriety. Yeah, it's nice not to be hungover. Yeah, it's nice not to spend the money, get in fights with your girlfriend, your wife, what have you, to do stupid things, to get DUIs, you know, to ruin your liver, all the things we know about. But what people rarely mention is just the lack of desire to drink anymore. And I'm wondering, because I mentioned it, if that makes me and my experience different, or am I just looking at drinking alcohol differently than a lot of people? So I posted this video and a guy commented, and what he said, he goes, sobriety, and it was about the best thing about being sober is not wanting to drink alcohol anymore. And he responded, sobriety doesn't make the temptation go away. You just learn to live with them. And honestly, I didn't know what to say, because I think for me, the temptation has gone away. I don't want to drink anymore. I don't think it's who I am. I've made the decision, and once the decision has been made, the decision's been made. And it got me to thinking while I'm sitting in the tub, again, half an hour ago, about drinking, not drinking, Alcoholics Anonymous, being a dry drunk. What is the definition of a dry drunk? I don't know if you guys know anybody in AA or met anybody. They have a term in AA for people that don't go through the 12 steps and don't attend the meetings, but aren't drinking. And they call those people, me included, dry drunks. And I kind of always thought it was a derogatory term for people that don't join their club, to be honest with you. I kind of still think it is. I've been to one AA meeting, and it felt like a lot of people sitting around the room feeling like victims and like they have no power and that they are victims to the evils and the disease that is alcoholism. And I've never felt that way. When I first said I stopped drinking, I had so many people say, way to go, good luck, it's gonna be so hard, I know it's gonna be the hardest thing you've ever had to do, blah, 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 we won't let you drink. And honestly, for me, it hasn't been that hard. And I'm wondering, and I'll tell you, life's not perfect when you're sober. Life is not perfect when you're sober. I was kind of bored today. I moved to Appleton, Wisconsin. Wisconsin is one of the biggest states for drinking. I live in downtown. Within a half a mile of me, there's probably 20 bars, at least. Every 2 buildings is a bar. I was a little bored today. I worked at 7 o'clock this morning. After work, I went to to a Starbucks, edited some videos, drank some coffee. My Chicago Bears were on, so I decided to go to a bar and watch the game. Fair amount of people in there. They were all drinking but me. I mean, I had a non-alcoholic Blue Moon, fairly tasty, by the way. Yes, with a slice of orange. But sat up at the bar, and there was 3 young ladies, or youngish ladies, sitting next to me, and kind of a random mix. And I was thinking about it, if I was there 5 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever, I would have probably drank before I went to the bar, gotten warmed up, Drank a lot at the bar, maybe tried to buy the ladies a round of drinks at the bar, tried to hit on the ladies and try and pick them up. And I was sitting there today looking at the ladies going, I'm not particularly interested in these women at all. They're all drinking. I don't find any super interesting or super attractive or whatever, but I'm telling you, when you're drinking, that stuff doesn't even really matter. And I just felt so disconnected from most of the people in the bar that were cheering loud for the football games that were going on, but they were probably there, and they don't even know it. They were probably there not to cheer on the teams, but to drink, and cheering on the teams was just something to do it as an excuse to drink. And the reason I say that, personal experience tells me my interest in the Bears, Chicago Bears, is so much less over the last 5 years since I stopped drinking alcohol. It became a full-time passion of mine because it was a good excuse to get together with my buddies and drink. Could watch college games on Saturday, pro games on Sunday, Monday night football, hell, Thursday night football. So many excuses to get together and drink. It just felt kind of weird for me. So again, I was sitting in the tub about 40 minutes ago, wondering about what this guy said about sobriety doesn't make the temptation go away, you just learn to live with it. And I didn't know what to say, because for me, I don't feel tempted to drink. I live alone. I'm in a one-bedroom apartment. I was in a bar an hour and a half ago. I'm kind of bored. There'd be a million reasons, and it'd be so easy. And I think if I wanted to drink, I would. Little back history on me, I wasn't the world's biggest drinker. I consider myself a bit of a Heineken-aholic. I would drink on average 6 to 8 beers a day for probably 35 years. So for most of my life, rarely did I miss a day. Sometimes I drink a heck of a lot more, and very rarely did I drink less. So I think by definition of anybody that knew me or watched me, I think everybody would have called me an alcoholic. Yeah, like I said, there's people that drink more, and there's people that drink harder liquor, and that wasn't me. I was fortunate. Because I think it's dangerous if you're drinking hard liquor. More dangerous than beer, just because it's easier to consume quickly. But I think by anybody's definition, I would have been an alcoholic. I think I wanted to stop, or thought I needed to stop, or probably should have stopped. I felt a sore spot in my liver area, gallbladder. I knew I wasn't being the best version of me. I knew I'd pass out watching a movie, wake up with a wet pants from my Heineken that I was holding in my hand spilling on my couch and on my lap and feeling stupid. I knew I was emotionally volatile as heck. I knew I was in a toxic as heck relationship. I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be in life. And one day on October 28th, 2021, I decided to try the next day without drinking. And I haven't drank alcohol or smoked pot since that day. And I was an everyday user of both. And honestly, outside of a couple times where there was a slight passing temptation, I was on the golf course, I was planning a golf outing, there was a keg. Everybody in my outing was tapping the keg and pouring this frothy beer in a cup. That was the one time I said, wow, that would probably taste pretty dang good. But I mean, outside of that, I can't really think back of a time in the last 4+ years that I've really been tempted. And I think I have faced the question that so many people that drink and have an issue are insulted by the question. I'm a member of Facebook groups like sobriety groups and alcohol groups, and every day I get somebody popping on saying, "Oh, I'm so ashamed. I drank last night. What am I going to do? How do I stay sober? Why am I so stupid? This and that, this and that." And I kind of think they're asking themselves the wrong question. I think a lot of them, if you asked them, do you want to stop drinking? Probably most people would say, yeah. But I think what they're scared to ask themselves is the opposite of that. And do you want to drink alcohol? Because if people hop on, posts on Facebook, say, "Oh, what the hell? How do you do it? How do I stay sober? I'm an asshole, or I'm an idiot, or this or that." And I'll ask them, "Well, do you want to drink?" And either they won't respond, or somebody will hop on, say how rude, and they'll go, "Oh, well, obviously he doesn't want to drink, or else he wouldn't be posting that." But I never almost get an answer, an honest answer to, do you want to drink? And my thought is, until you make the decision that you no longer want to drink, your life is going to be filled with temptation and the devil on your shoulder and somebody whispering in your ear, "Hey, you'd feel better if you were buzzed." But I think, who knows? Maybe I'll decide I want to drink tomorrow. But for the last 4 years, I really haven't been tempted, and I haven't wanted to drink. And stopping drinking outside of occasional periods of boredom. Because I'm telling you, if you are out there and you think you might drink a little too much, you probably spend 75% of your time drinking alcohol and you barely even know it. Or you think about drinking alcohol, or the reason you want to go out to dinner with your wife is so you can have a couple of drinks. Or the reason you want to meet a buddy out, is for drinks. Or the reason you want to do anything that you do is to drink alcohol. And I know that it was that way for me. And over the last 4 years, I've had a ridiculous amount of time in my hands. There's been periods of, like I was walking around downtown Appleton today, looking at things, going, everybody in this town seems to be in the bars watching the football games. I went to a coffee shop just out of habit and didn't even order a coffee. I didn't even want a coffee. I sat there and I was going, hopefully I'll get the desire to drink some coffee. I feel like a bit of a freeloader today. So I sat there and kind of looked around for 20 minutes and then left and came home, hopped in the bath, and here I am today. And I'm wondering, I think I have a different purpose in life than I did 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not even totally sure what God's plan is for me, but I think God has a plan for me. And I don't know if it's to talk about mental health, sobriety, relationships, financial highs and lows, coffee. But I think God has a plan for me, and I'm a sharp tool that can be used. And I'm not totally sure what that tool is, but I think one of the things that I think there's a lot of need for is just open and honest talk about drinking alcohol and whether we want to do it, and how the best way is to stop drinking it. And so I was sitting in the tub going, what the heck, let's just go on live. I promised myself I'd give myself a little of this mushroom coffee. Haven't had any yet, but I'm going to take a swig just because. It's actually fairly nice. But yeah, I think I can help people. I think I could help people. I'm not saying I'm gonna ever go live again and do a sobriety talks again. Yeah. Somebody said maybe you have substituted coffee for alcohol and that works for me. No, I drank coffee at least as much always. And people like to bring up caffeine and coffee. I'm promising you, the feeling, this is mushroom coffee. I was at a coffee shop and I didn't order coffee. I'm not gonna drink coffee all night. The feeling isn't even slightly the same. If I drank alcohol or smoked weed, all I wanted to do the rest of the day was drink alcohol and smoke weed. Somebody said, is there mushroom in that coffee cup? Yeah, I'm only doing it just for fun. Laird Superfood. They sent me a package. I think it's like $15. It tastes kind of good. I think it makes like 6 to 8 cups of mushroom latte coffee. The regular. But I'm betting if I really wanted to, I could probably help people that wanted to stop drinking. Because if you don't want to stop drinking, see, Ball Striker said, what if someone said, okay, Ken, no more coffee in the morning at all? Why are you even asking that question? Because I'm not asking anybody or trying to stop anybody from drinking. I have no desire to stop drinking coffee. None. And if you don't have any desire to stop drinking alcohol, maybe this show's not for you. Because if you want to drink alcohol, drink. I could care less. It means nothing to me. It really doesn't. I'm not telling anybody to stop drinking alcohol. So when you ask me, what if somebody said you could never have coffee again? What is the point of that? I'm not telling anybody they can't drink again. But what frustrates me is all the people that are crying out and asking for help and don't know how to stop drinking alcohol. There are no Facebook pages, stop drinking coffee. You know, maybe there are, but I promise you, they don't have hundreds of thousands of people. I don't know anybody that feels that coffee is really a serious problem for them. I don't know anybody that's ever been arrested for driving under the influence of coffee, or that's rotting their liver off with coffee, or that's frying out their mind, or is unmotivated, or is getting in fights over coffee. So for some reason, everyone likes to compare it, and I just honestly think, okay, Ball Striker said, but you wouldn't want to stop drinking coffee. And nobody's asking you to, and I'm not asking anybody to, I don't want to stop drinking coffee. I don't want to stop eating ice cream. You know, I don't want to stop having key lime pie or quesadillas either. But there's no groups, there's no quesadilla anonymous, and there's no groups and billions of dollars of research and Betty Ford clinics and all this other stuff designed to help people stop drinking. And I think the one thing that nobody's asking themselves that they need to is, do you want to drink? And until you're ready to face that question with yourself, I decided I didn't want to drink anymore. It wasn't a plan. It wasn't even a long-term plan. Over the last 4 years, it's kind of happened. I just can't imagine I ever would. Yeah, I can. Yeah. So my thought, while I'm sitting in the tub, was maybe I could help some people. Does anybody out there? And you guys don't have to answer. I wrote down a couple questions. We got 35 people watching. How many of you feel like you have a drinking problem? Do any of you? You don't have to answer. But again, this isn't for anybody that wants to keep drinking, because if you want to keep drinking, party on. You know, doesn't matter to me if you fry out your liver. Travis says it's not about drinking, though. It's about how you feel or what you're trying not to feel. But Travis, to be honest, that's a little bit of mumbo jumbo philosophical stuff. And that's just a whole huge onion to unpack. I don't think you ever get to how you feel or how you don't feel until you stop the drinking, if that makes sense. So I'm saying, I think it's important. You don't care about how you feel. You're not going to do the work because you can just get drunk, if that makes sense to you. Ron Louther says he drinks regularly, never excessively, but no problem. Okay, you have no problem. No worries about you. Let me see. So what is your advice to someone who comes to you and says, you want to quit? Okay, well, I'd probably say, well, first of all, I'd say, do you want to drink alcohol? And they'd say, no. And I'd say, okay, well then don't. And then realistically what would happen is we'd both go about our days and we'd reconvene tomorrow, and they probably would have drank. And honestly, I probably wouldn't have put up with their schmarmy disease addiction BS that they'd want to feed me, that say, oh, they're addicted. I'd say, it sounds like you wanted to drink yesterday. And I think that's the honest answer. People I've done videos on how I don't believe in addiction. I think addiction is a really strong want. Or temptation is a really strong want. And I think if we stopped using words like addiction, because addiction sounds like a medical need to continue doing what you're doing. And I don't think that's the case for most of us. It wasn't the case for me. And I think we make it more complicated than it needs to be. Do I ever visit Chicago? What was I addicted to? I just said I don't even believe in addiction. I gambled too much, I had sex too much, I smoked too much pot, and I drank too much. The first drink is a choice. How does that saying go? The man takes a drink, the drink takes a drink, then the drink takes the man. All right, I'll go with that. I think it's easy to stop drinking altogether. I think it would be hard to cut back or do anything in moderation. And I'll bet the end result of trying to do moderation is probably more drinking than you started with. Wait, hold on here. I started drinking at age 7. By age 23, I went to rehab. I finally quit at age 30 and got married. I'm 56 and I'm not drank since. Way to go. Way to go. Don't I think the why behind drinking matters in terms of how hard it is to stop? No, because the solution's the same regardless. Own it and say you don't want to drink anymore. The alcohol doesn't levitate and swig down your mouth. You're picking it up. You're making the decision to do it. And the why is just an excuse, JB, in my opinion. You know, I've had emotional traumas out the yahoo over the last 4 years. I have people saying, what was I to do? I was driving home from work and there's a bar on the way. I was triggered. Carlo was sober for 15 years, but after hard work and dedication, you're finally drinking again. That's cool. You know, Carlo, it doesn't matter to me. Somebody's saying depression. I struggled with depression all my life. I still deal with demons, but I deal with them in a healthier fashion than I did when I was drinking. Yeah. An addiction is wanting to do something more than not wanting to do it. It's a choice. That sounds like a choice either way, Connie. I don't even wanting to do something more than not wanting to do it. Okay. Again, if anyone wants to keep drinking, go for it. But what's frustrating me is all the people that hop on and talk about, oh, I don't know what to do. What do I do? And the thought, again, okay, let's go on. Let's talk about AA. They have a term, again, dry drunk, and it's for people that haven't gone through 12 steps but have stopped drinking. Why is it when I hear people who have stopped drinking, they feel the need to tell everyone? When you were drinking, did you really want to hear someone tell you what to do? Jack, I'm not telling anybody what to do. If you want to keep drinking, keep drinking. You know, keep drinking. I don't care. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm talking to the people that want to stop drinking but keep drinking. And I'm telling you, I'm bored of hearing you whine. And I'm saying, don't drink tonight. I'm not telling you that you're an alcoholic. I'm not telling you to go to a club. I'm not telling you that you got to confess your sins, read the big book, or collect tokens. Yeah. Somebody said drinking is child's play compared to other drugs. I'm not totally sure that it is. I don't know. I found I was more worried about, I don't know. Okay, well, I haven't done heavy, hard drugs. We had to clean up my channel a little bit. I don't know. Well, I've removed 2 of them. And I'm not saying you're weak if you're making stupid choices. Believe me, I drank for 35 years. I smoked pot for 15. I gambled for 20 and was having sex 3 times a day. All of it to deal with mental anxiety and fear of silence and looking for dopamine hits and all that stuff. And squandering money, getting in bad relationships, frying out my liver. What do I do when I get depressed? I go, thank you, God, for the pillow that is underneath my head. Thank you, God, for my little fake fireplace over there. Thank you, God, for this mushroom superfood coffee I'm drinking. I am telling you, that's the best way I've found to deal with it. And I'm anxious and scared all the time. Every morning I wake up and I go, holy crap. Am I going to get to work on time? Am I going to be able to pay my bills? When am I going to see my little ones? What's going on with this, that, and the other thing? And my mind's racing and none of it's positive every morning. And I go, okay, I've been here before. I don't have to drink alcohol to solve this. I don't have to smoke pot to solve this. I need, whether you believe in God or not, I don't even know if it's relevant. If you don't, still, thank God for something. I think the Bible, and again, I'm not sure how I believe, might be the greatest self-help book of all, about giving your fears and your worries and your sadness to God, believing in a higher power and believing you are forgiven. So, yeah, those are a few thoughts. I could probably talk. I thought it'd be interesting to hop on and have a focused conversation about this. Because again, I was just sitting there going, and he said, temptation never goes or doesn't go away. You just learn to live with them. And I didn't know how to answer him. So I got on, and I'm trying to do better at not answering questions because people ask all sorts of questions, and if I just get frustrated at answering them all. But I go, I don't want to drink again. Do you? And he hasn't answered. And you can look, it's the last video I posted here on YouTube. I think he wants to drink again. I think most of the world is trying to quit while still wanting to drink again. And that just seems like a recipe for disaster. And I think everybody in that AA meeting, okay, I don't know what the big book is, but they say thou shalt not worship false idols. You know, I don't know what the big book is, but if it's not the Holy Bible, it sounds like a false idol to me. And their little tokens that they give out, honestly, I almost think are false idols. They're some trophies of something. I don't need a trophy. You know, I don't need a trophy. I'll acknowledge, hey, it's been 4 years, but I certainly don't count the days, and I don't need any trophy. But I do think I can help some people. Somebody says, nah, that's not it. What's not it? I mean, I'm not saying I don't need a trophy for anything. There's nothing I'd like more. I mean, there's some things I'd like more. Don't get me wrong. I want a plaque from YouTube with 100, when I get 100,000 followers, a silver plaque. I'm not against trophies or even false idols. But I'm saying the key to stopping drinking isn't some stupid token. It's wanting to stop drinking. Because if I was tempted to drink all the time, I probably would. I believe the best thing about being sober is not having that voice, the devil on your shoulder saying, go smoke some weed, go drink some alcohol all the time. And I'm not saying life's perfect, and I'm not saying I'm not bored, and I'm not saying I'm not walking down the road going, what the hell am I going to do? It's Sunday at 4 o'clock. I live in Wisconsin. I barely know anybody. And everybody in the state is either hunting or drinking. And I don't do either. So I said, well, I'll go home. I'll have a hot bath. You know? So Ozzy fan says they enjoy focusing on the Bible. I read 2 chapters every night. I'm not saying I even love it. I'm reading the Old Testament. I'm going to read chapter 5 and 6 of the book of Numbers. But I know somehow, some way, a way I don't even understand or feel at this moment, that it's got to be good for me. You will move to Wisconsin to be my sponsor in a few days. I don't really even understand what the point of sponsors are. Try being agnostic. It's very interesting. I was agnostic most of my life. Somebody says former alcoholics become Bible thumpers. Maybe. A healthier way, maybe. I mean, maybe. Maybe. But again, I don't think it's been hard. Yeah, I don't think it's been hard. And I think if I can do it, I'm not without suffering temptation, and I'm not saying life's perfect, and I still got bills to pay, and I still was at work at 7 o'clock this morning. And not all my issues in life are miraculously solved. Somebody said they replaced drinking with weightlifting. Every craving I replaced at the gym, if that helps anyone. All right. So anyway, it's Sunday night. Do any of you feel you have a drinking problem that you want to mention? You know, again, I just see so many people talking about wanting to quit, but not knowing how. And that just is silly to me. I think we all know how, we just don't really want to. And I think if we acknowledge that we wanted to drink, I think that would go a big step into solving the drinking problem and solving a lot of stuff that we're dealing with. So, yeah. I just wanted to hop on and talk sobriety for a little bit. Feels good. Feels good. And again, if I could stop drinking, and I'm not saying I'm any model to follow after, you got to do what I do, but know that if I can stop drinking, and I'm sitting there to tell you it wasn't that hard, you can too. Somebody said they've had 5 beers this year. Yeah. If you've had 5 beers this year, you're probably not worried about stopping. You probably don't care to stop. I know people that drink very little and it's not an issue. I know people that drink a ton and they don't seem to care. You know? And they're not my concern either. I'm just here to say, hey, you know, if you want to stop, you can. Nick says you can't stop drinking. It's insanely hard. Do you really believe that, Nick? I mean, well, okay, do you want to stop drinking? Okay, you can't stop drinking. Do you want to stop drinking? Do you want to drink? it's probably insanely hard because you want to keep drinking. And I get that. But until you I think really believe your life's better without alcohol than it is with alcohol, you're probably going to keep on drinking. And I think that's where the mental stuff comes into play. I used to think I was funnier, cooler, more interesting because I'd get drunk and I'd be the life of the party. But I think I'm funnier and more interesting and, I mean, in some ways louder and obnoxious than I ever was. And I'm not saying you need to be me. Everybody wants to drink, but nobody wants the consequences. If there were no consequences for most things, we would do them. Well, I think you have to meld that together, Connie, and realize that there are consequences, and that realize those consequences aren't something you want in your life, and realize that your life would be so much better off. I mean, again, if you don't want to stop, don't, because you're not going to. Nick said you're 25, but you've been drinking heavy for 10 years. Yeah. Do you want to stop? Nick, do you want to stop? And if you do, don't drink you probably already drank today, I'm assuming, so keep on drinking, but don't drink tomorrow. I bet you if I did this show, maybe some people don't care much about their life much, so their desire to stop is diminished. Yeah, I believe that. I'm pretty sure 4 or 5 years ago, I figured I'd just keep drinking my Heinekens and I'd die at 62 or 3 of a fried out liver. But something kind of woke me up and I said, let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can accomplish. Let's see what type of difference we can make. Congratulations, Rocky. Yeah, congratulations. You needed detox, Flying Eagle? How do I get less emotional and in work and don't want to fight and turn my back? I don't know what that means. Am I a comedian? No. Why are your friend of 30 years is dying of pancreatic cancer and he doesn't drink? I mean, is this topical? I don't understand. It was a nightmare drinking with him. He started his, I can't read all that too much. I bet a lot of people are drinking right now, and I get it. That's cool. All right, well, way to go, Fly Eagles. Way to go. So anyway, it's Sunday night. Just wanted to hop on and talk sobriety a little bit. Again, I go live every morning and do my show Coffee with Ken. where I just talk about stuff. But Ron Lowther said medically, stopping drinking for some abruptly can be fatal. I can't tell you how often I hear about that, I hear people say that. Walking across the street can be fatal for some as well, Ron. What I do know is continuing drinking will be fatal. And I hear so much on the stream. I've never known anybody that lost their life from stopping drinking, but I do know a lot of people that lost their life that kept drinking. Way to go, Schlevel. Way to go, Fiona. Yeah. Again, I see it all the time. Everyone talks about how I've Googled. You can do all the research you want about the fatality of stopping drinking. And if you come up with any real statistic, please tell me. I haven't seen any, and I've looked. Yeah, I understand. They're called DTs. But that doesn't mean he's right. DTs isn't death. If it was death, they'd say death. You know? Yeah, I think it's very rare, Fly Eagles. I think it's very rare. Because I've looked. Yet I can't tell you how many people on social media tell me how dangerous it is to stop drinking. You know, and I almost think it's an excuse to keep drinking. You used to get urges for alcohol after the 3-day of quitting. The dude says you get the shakes and nightmares. Yeah, all right. You deal with some nightmares, your liver loves you though. I still get nightmares. Somebody's saying they only know fight or humble yourself. I'll tell you what, I'd love to talk about that because I actually have thoughts about that, but that's not this subject. Did I try to occupy my time with other things? Yeah, you have to. I am telling you, you stop drinking, you have a lot of time on your hands. Sammy said, alcohol withdrawal is absolute worse. It's like having a seizure until you drink more alcohol. Did you experience that, Sammy? Go into detail. Tell me more. Okay, Connie says delirium tremors, seen it in clinics and ER. I hear a lot of people talking about DTs. Okay, you've seen it, but did you see anybody die, Connie? I'm just curious. You know, Connie, I'm assuming you didn't see anybody die, or you would have said you saw a dude die. I hear a lot about DTs and tremors. I mean, they shake and they have nightmares and stuff like that. I hear a lot about that, but nobody ever tells me they saw anybody die. And I Google the crap out of it, and I can't hear about anybody dying. But I hear about DTs. You know what I mean? Okay, you went on medication and got severe shakes. Okay. Joshua, when he stopped drinking, took up learning Hebrew. I've seen people die, Tanya, but was it over stopping drinking? I'm betting not. My mushroom coffee's gone. Somebody asked earlier how I help people. I don't know. I'm just betting I do. I bet by doing this show, somebody's going to give up drinking. I'm going to clip this video into a million different videos, and they're going to get seen a ton of times. And somebody's going to say, hey, you know how I stop? I got to have the balls to make the decision to not drink alcohol today. And that's what it comes down to. And if you don't, that's fine. I'm not telling you you need to or you should or whatever. I don't care. But if you want to stop, you know how and you can do it. And it's just frustrating for me how often I see it. If you don't want to stop, that's cool. I don't care. I really don't. I really don't. So anyway, we've had a glorious audience today. Talked for just about an hour. I'll bet you if I did this show every night and talked for an hour, I'd build up a huge audience. Yeah, I bet you I'd build up a huge audience. And I'd be a niche and I'd be sober Ken. And I don't know if I want to be sober Ken, but I think there's a huge amount of demand for sobriety talk. And again, I think I'd build up a huge audience if I did it every night. So, yeah. You're getting your silver play button. I don't know what you mean, Ron Lowther. I don't know what you mean. But again, it's Sunday night. I'm going to hop online probably in an hour and read a couple chapters from the Bible. And it's going to be chapters 5 and 6 from the book of Numbers. And if you'd like to join me, stay tuned. I'll probably be going live. I mean, it might be soon. If I want to say I'll go live at 7, which is an hour from now. But honestly, if I do, I'm just going to be sitting around waiting to read the Bible. And I might as well change my setting, move over to my couch, crack open the Bible, type on my phone, whatever I type for my Bible reading, a reading from the book of Numbers, chapters 5 and 6, and just start reading. So I'll probably do that pretty shortly. But I want to thank you guys so much for joining tonight. Again, I just felt like talking about sobriety. I think it's an important topic. And I think just open and honest discussion about it could help some people. Again, if you want to keep drinking, keep drinking. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm not telling you should stop. But if you want to stop, you can. And I think we all know how. You just have to really want to do it, because it's not going to, if you're used to doing this all day long with a can of beer, it's an easy habit to continue. But I'm telling you, you can stop if you want to. And I appreciate you guys hopping on today. Hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Hope you're feeling good. Hope you are loving yourself. Hope you are forgiving yourself. And as always, I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.